One of the things that really interests me about Tony Kushner's Angels in America is here you have this play that's about some very serious real issues, but at the same time it's using a number of strange theatrical techniques, and there's all these strong elements of fantasy throughout the play, right? So in some ways, if you think of the issues, right, here's a play that's about AIDS, health, sexuality, class, the very question, idea of what is America, the whole notion of, how do you make sense of this nation, serious issues, but at the same time, this is a play in which you've got Harper's Mr. Lies and her trip to Antarctica. You've got Pryor's hallucinatory visions of an angel, as well as his visions where he's meeting with all the earlier historical versions of himself. So I guess for me the question that arises, if you're a playwright and you want to write about the very serious issues, why not make it a straightforward, realistic play? Why have all the weirdness? Why have all the strange elements of fantasy? What does that get you? To help situate this a little bit, it might help to step back and do a little quick crash course of 20th century theater history. When theater makes its radical jump into the modern age, sort of end of the 19th century, you've got people like Heinrich Ibsen and Anton Chekhov. And the radical thing they're doing is making theater be realistic, right? And that is, they're saying theater doesn't have to be just a spectacle, it doesn't have to be just mere entertainment. That is, it's not just jugglers and dancing horses, right? It's like, here's Heinrich Ibsen, right? Doll's House. I'm going to show you the middle class, and I'm going to plop you right in the middle of their living room. And it's real material. It's not a cardboard forest like a third grade play. But inevitably, it being theater, being art, people move on and they question it. So you have someone like the Belgian playwright Maurice Maeterlinck, who says, but wait a minute, all this stuff that Ibsen and Chekhov are doing, this shows realism, but it's only external, it's just surface. Like, what's going on in people's minds? What about your desires, your dreams, or the psychological state where we actually live? Is theater showing that? Or you have a Russian like Valery Brusov, who says to Chekhov, this is ridiculous. You're telling me I go to a play and it's real life. But that's a con. You're not kidding anyone, right? It's like walking into an art gallery, and no matter how great you are with oil paint, and I've done a realistic painting of a bowl of fruit, no one walks up to it, goes, tries to grab the banana into the painting. Right? So someone like Brusov says, this is even worse of a con. Realism is an illusion pretending not to be an illusion. That's horrible, right? The German playwright Bertolt Brecht says, he's even politically troubled by the idea of illusion of realism. He says, what happens with a play? People go to the theater, they sit passively as an audience, they watch for 2 hours, believe a little dream, it comes true, and then they can walk away and go have a steak dinner and not really be troubled by what's going on there. So Brecht says, no, expose the play as a play, show it for what it is, make audiences uncomfortable, challenge them, make them discomforted in various ways, and that can be political, right? You could talk about real issues by exposing the illusion of theater, by making people uncomfortable, make the audience be more active, right? Destroy this wall, make this all alive, that we're all in this together. If you go back and you look at the notes for the playwright about staging it, there's some overtly Brechtian things there, right? He talks about stripping down the set, making it minimal. It's not an elaborate set. The actors are there with the stagehands. Like, we see the stagehands. Like, we see this being made as a play. So nowhere along the line is Kushner saying, pretend this is all real. He's saying, this is theater. Right? It's very meta-theatrical. As Sigmund Freud showed us, sometimes a dream teaches us the truth better than our daily awaking reality. There's something that sometimes we get to truth through something strange, through something more theatrical. So you have a rose. There's a real thing. But yet when we look at a rose, we think love, we think romance, the symbolic other meaning. Well, where is that? It's not in the rose. It's something we project onto it. It's an illusion. It's a belief. So theater is an illusion. It's a fake. And sometimes it's actually really cheap magic. Right? But then there's these moments where no matter how bad sometimes a play can be, right? It's like, ugh, it's just bad magic. But then suddenly it's good magic. And something that we know is a fake, is an illusion, becomes real for us. People, objects on a stage become something other. We believe in it, right? There's an element of belief. We suddenly look at these things and the ordinary thing becomes something else. We believe in that illusion. What is love? Is it just biology? Or is there a fantasy element to it? Does that matter? What is America? Is it just its mere politics? Or is there some kind of spirit? Okay, so I think in many ways Kushner is exploring ideas of belief and believability and the politics of that, and essentially the politics of the theater of everyday life.